introduce her as well.
You got a copy of?
Do I have a copy of this.
Okay.
I don't know what she has. I'm sure she has the same thing because she did.
Right.
She sent it to me.
Yeah, sure.
So, make sure that my phone again is off. Just really want to make sure that. Okay, we're live now.
Five, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Perfect. So welcome back, everyone. Information, that's what this show is all about for everybody out there. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to be sharing the show in just a little bit. I cannot wait to bring on my next guest because, number one, we didn't get a chance to talk. I love that when this happens because now it's just you and I talking, right?
Right.
And you weren't able to come the first time. You're here now, so I'm so excited that you're here. I have with me Yash Pahawa, if I said that correctly.
You did. Thank you, Carol.
And he is the managing partner of Cronus Law. And you also have with you, she had to call in, she has Erin Hertzog is also on the phone. What is her position there?
Erin is our labor and employment specialist.
Okay.
She's an attorney there
So
as well.
let's talk a little bit about the firm and what you do. And then we're going to go into some of these questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we're a 10 attorney firm, a small firm, I guess you could say, but we're
A
kind
boutique firm.
Yeah, we're a little unique in the sense though that most boutique firms focus on one practice area. They're a personal injury firm, they're a litigation firm, or what have you. We're a little different that way. We have a wide variety of areas, mostly cater to small businesses, but everything else.
Now, Erin, you're calling in, and I can tell. Where are you calling in from? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I would have so wanted to meet you. But you know what? This is where all of this kind of works now too. When you're working with people, are you finding that you are having to work sort of a different way these days or two, or what? How's it working in your office?
To a certain extent, but Cronus was set up differently than most law firms. We were set up to be a virtual kind of office to begin with. What I realized coming out of school is that the traditional law firm models, they don't really help serve small businesses. I grew up in a small business family, and I quickly realized what ended up happening was, small businesses need maybe 5 to 10 hours of help with a variety of different specialties. One day it's an employment issue, the other day it's, I'm going to call my landlord and my lease. And what ends up happening is either they don't have an attorney and they try to do it themselves, or they go to one guy who kind of handles and dabbles in everything, but is not really an expert. So they're not really getting the help they need. So what I realized quickly is, we need to fill that niche. And that's kind of how I built Cronus, in the sense that, what I also realized is in the workplace, there's no such thing as a part-time attorney. It just doesn't exist. You're either working 80 hours a week or you're not.
If you're not doing your job.
Right? And that's kind of the issue I saw. And what I realized is, there's a lot of attorneys, who have the training, who, practice 5-10 years, and they decide to have families. When you have a family, it's hard to have 2 attorney families. You can't work 80 hours a week. And my wife's an attorney as well, and what we realized is there needs to be a part-time option. We have all these attorneys out there with great experience, years of experience, but nowhere to work. So that's kind of where we recruited attorneys, who kind of fit that model. Hey, I want to work 40 to 60 hours a month. Great. Real estate attorney Susan Carlson, she retired from big firm life from Boston. She had been practicing for 30 some odd years. And now she's working with us as a real estate specialist. And what's great is, she went to Harvard Law. She's a big partner in Boston. If you wanted to hire her back then, you'd have to pay her $900 an hour. Her associate, another $300 an hour, and her paralegal, $150 an hour. So you're really spending $1,500 an hour for her time. But with us, you get her directly, and only spending $300 an hour per time. Giving you the same level of service.
Wow. So you were virtual before this.
Right.
And so all of how do they do that? So when you do consultations with people, correct? Is it a free consultation that they get? How does that work?
In most situations, yes, it's a free consult.
Okay.
Very rarely is it charged, but in most situations we offer free consultation.
So, okay, what areas? Let's talk about the areas that you cover, because you just mentioned a few, and I want to make sure we get that out because I'd like to talk about one in particular. Go ahead.
So we're catered to small businesses, but we cover everything from, personal injury, auto accidents to, residential landlord tenant. We do estate planning.
So you're a virtual full-service boutique firm.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're very unique in that sense.
That's awesome. So I want to talk about, let's say somebody does have an issue where they've had, let's say personal injury, we'll use that one as an example. If you're virtual, how do they go about it where they've had, let's say they've been in an accident or what have you, and how do you work with them like that?
Well, most of the time, right, when they've had an accident, the first thing they're panicking doing is, what happens to my car? And then second is, I'm hurt, and where do I go? So when we have clients call us, or we have our intake and our paralegals and attorneys, and answer all those questions, like, here's what to, tell the police, here's what to talk to the insurance company about, and that's all done through the first phone call. And then, we have to get documents and such, but oftentimes we'll just send documents over DocuSign, so you don't have to, physically come into the office, you don't want to. In certain situations, we can send somebody out to their home to help them, sign and, get all the documentation, figure out what's going on with them. But it's a very personalized service. We really want to make them feel like we're there to take care of them, which is what we do.
Do you call this outside general counsel? Is that what you call what you do?
So, outside general counsel is the service we have for the small businesses. That's not necessarily for the personal injury. So the outside general counsel is the new product line Erin and I have launched at Cronus, which is, a lot of small businesses, like I was going into, can't afford a full-time lawyer. They're expensive. We know that.
Right.
So what they need is help, but they don't necessarily have one person that can have on payroll to help them with all those services. So outside general counsel is basically, you have our firm, and we kind of act like we work at your company. So whatever your issues are, whatever projects you want to do, whatever you want to build, we're tuned in with you 100% of the way and help you go through that, whatever project or need you have.
So, Erin, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions too. When you're working with a business, let's say like that, what size business? Does it matter what size business? When is the best time for them to call you and get set up with something like this? Is it before business or as they're forming? When obviously something can come up at any time. You don't want to wait till it's come up, that's for sure.
Mhm.
Right. I like the way you put it. I like the way you guys put it. It's on your card. I like the way you put it. Complexity simplified. You know, you made it simple for people. Now we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk further. Their website is Cronus Law, so it's CRONUS Law.com. Their phone number is 480-467-3188. This is made for any business in any situation, actually, that they've made it simplified for you. Again, that's CronusLaw.com. Hang tight. We're going to be back in just a minute. You like it?
Yeah, it's a lot more fast-paced than I thought it would be.
Okay, so we are live still, so I'm going to want to talk to you. So as you're hearing, like some of these things here, right now this is gal that's on my, she's been on my show for 6 years, this woman. What I like to do when I do it with people, I like to go narrow and deep, okay? And so we'll talk about that afterwards. Right now it's an introduction type of thing, which is perfectly fine. Are you liking what I'm doing?
Yeah, no, it's been good.
It does go fast, but when you go more narrow and deep, and I'm going to talk about that later, and you're sort of educating them differently, and then it just doesn't sound like we're just going to try to get it all up. We can call us type of thing, right? And well, I'll tell you what I mean afterwards. When you work with people, you're the managing partner. What area did you say that you is your expertise?
I do a lot of the general business and lease contracts.
Okay. Okay. And what a great time too to be talking, because if that's okay with you, I can talk about that too, because a lot of people are forming businesses right now, new businesses.
A lot of people have a lot of new challenges.
Right, exactly. I'm sure. How'd you like it?
It's typically something I've never done.
Oh, I'm going to tell you afterwards how you'll love it when you hear how I do it. Now, they're different. They're not going to go more narrow and deep on it, but sometimes they do. You know, the funeral people, they come on. Sometimes we'll just talk about planning, but they had some events that they wanted to get out. You know.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. But going narrow and deep, and let's say just say today I want to talk about people forming businesses and what they kind of need to look for. That way, when you do it like that, it's a whole nother way of looking at it, and now you're educating them, and that person out there goes, I wonder if I did that, or I should probably do that. See?
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All of these that you hear, like right now that you're hearing, are the commercials. You have some commercials that I'm going to have to make for you. I believe you got some commercials. I'm almost positive of it, so I will make one for you.
Okay.
You have a plethora of things, so I have to kind of decide maybe make
That
one.
makes sense.
Yeah, okay, but we'll put it together and then I'll just send it to you and you'll say, oh, that looks great. And then we will have it made, okay?
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. In terms of things when we're doing right now, I've gone and I know I have her on the line, so it's a little bit harder than if she is here, obviously. Do you want to talk about when we get back I know you talked a little bit about the outside counsel, the expensive part of it and how you've made it affordable?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So welcome back, everyone. We have Erin Hertzog on the phone with us. We also have Yash Pahawa. Pahawa. I'm sorry. I'm going to get it right the next time, okay? It's hard when you try my job sometime, okay? But anyway, we're talking about their law firm, which is Cronus Law, and it's a boutique firm, but they've made it virtual, which is a virtual office, and it is something that you do. You almost dealt with any type of law, but you specialize in
Small business representation.
Right.
That's kind of our bread and butter.
Mhm.
We act as outside general counsel, and we're kind of set up to facilitate all small businesses' needs, really.
Now, so what we were talking at the break, and I had said, what a great time for you to be on here right now, because so many people are forming new businesses, but also having more challenges than ever, you had said.
Right. I mean, a lot of businesses, right, have been shut down because of COVID and the governor's order and everything else. And the world has changed. A lot of businesses are out of business now. A lot of businesses are starting brand new ideas because of this new culture where everyone's working from home. So it's an interesting time we live in, and you know, really what needs to be said is that whatever issues people are having or whatever business they want to start, having the right foundation will save you going on. The analogy I like to use is like going to the dentist, right? Nobody likes going to the dentist. Nobody likes to go there. But everybody goes twice a year. Why do you go? So you don't want to end up having a root canal down the road, which is more expensive and it's painful. That's kind of how I describe the outside general counsel services, right? Think of us as going to your dentist twice a year. We check up on things, make sure everything's in compliance, everything's doing fine, and there's not going to be any major blow-ups, right? And that's really what we're doing for you.
I want to make sure too that they understand that it doesn't matter what size business, right?
Right.
Because any business could have issues.
Yeah. I had a client that I originally met, maybe 4 years ago, and at that point, I didn't have an office, they didn't have an office coming out of school, and we met at a local Starbucks. Neither one of us had an office. And here we are 4 years later, and I have 10 attorneys now at the firm, and they have 600 employees in 4 different countries, right? So it doesn't matter what size you are, we can scale and grow with what you need. I like working with newer companies. It's fun in the growth phase, right? That's what the idea is, and what the passion is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever size you are, we can help. Facilitate what your needs.
Now, the phone. So nationwide that they can work. Okay, and we're heard nationwide as well. So their phone number is 480-467-3188. The website is Cronus, CRONUS law.com. The best thing I think for people to do is have that consultation with you, sit down and find out, especially if you're dealing with something right now. If you're starting a business, call them now, don't wait, get on this. And once they decide to work with you, is it sort of like, did they have a choice of whether they want to work with you on an ongoing basis, like you said, with the general counsel, or if they just need something out? Did they have that choice?
Yeah, it's completely up to the client, right? When we meet with them, we'll tell them like, hey, here's maybe 10 things we think that need to be done. Of those 10 things, maybe 2 of them are urgent action items, the other 8 you can kind of wait on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you don't need to touch those right now. And maybe you just want to hire us to do those 2 things and nothing else. Maybe you want to hire us and we have a meeting every 3 months or every quarter. So it really depends on what the client wants and the client needs. We're completely flexible to kind of help you grow and help them succeed.
Now, you also made it incredibly affordable.
Right. Well, that goes back to the way we're set up, right? Like I told you at the beginning of the show, we have 10 attorneys at our firm, but only 2 really work in the office. Everyone else works virtually through home. So there's a lot of cost savings there. We don't have a big expensive office where everybody has to be and staying. We don't have the traditional pyramid model that most law firms have, where you have a partner and associates underneath them. Every attorney at our firm is a partner local attorney. You're paying for the expert and only the expert. You're not paying for an associate to go learn on your dime. You're not paying for a paralegal to kind of fluff up the hours or what have you. Every dime you spend is with the expert and for value-added service.
Their phone number is area code 480-467-3188. The website again is Cronus, CRONUS law.com. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about an example that you might like to talk about with someone like that you work with. Go ahead. Who wants to do it?
Erin, you want to take this one?
I have to ask you to, Erin. It's huge. You know, it's a lot. It is. I want to also ask you, Erin, especially now that you've been a little bit exposed with this, with the COVID. Are you finding also, especially with employment law, is that coming up at all? Well, really quick, it's okay, go, I know what that's like, I've had that happen. Let me give you out your phone number while you get some water, okay? That phone number to call them, it's 480-467-3188. The website is Cronus, Cronus law.com. You know, I have to say that especially right now too, people might have a lot of questions about what to do. You know, they might not even know. Right? What do they need to do? I mean, the first thing would be, let's say, call someone like you, or what?
Well, I mean, I think the first part is they need to identify whatever the issue that they have is, right? I mean, sometimes they don't even know what issues they have, and then, you know, obviously give us a call and we can kind of help work them through it. But I want to touch on what Erin said is that, you know, we're really a business partner. You know, don't look at us as like a law firm that you're hiring to do a project or do a service. That's not how we're set up and not how we really practice. I understand that's how most people view attorneys, but really what we are is we're a business partner. You know, every business, every small business owner, you're a risk taker. You open up your own shop. I mean, that's the biggest risk in the American dream, right? And part of that is, you know, we want to help you achieve results in your goals. So we will be flexible and we'll be a business partner to help kind of guide you there and get you there. We don't want to be, you know, just somebody drafting one agreement here. We really want to understand your business and know what your goals are and know what you're trying to accomplish.
And the time to do that is sooner rather than later, especially right now if anybody who is thinking about starting up a business, and if you're doing it with somebody else, you know there's going to be trouble, right? I mean, it just comes up all the time.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is having a good agreement in place, right? I mean, when the money's coming in, everyone's doing well, everyone's happy.
And when you decide to close shop, then there's also...
That's when there's the tension, right?
That's right.
And it's a lot easier to solve the, you know, say, you know, should the worst happen, you know, what's our plan? What are we going to do? What's the exit strategy? You know, solving all that beforehand is a lot easier than, you know, there's hurt feelings, creditors knocking on the door, and all the other stress that comes with that.
Now, Erin, I just saw this giveaway, so go ahead, tell them what that is. Can you do that or no? Go ahead. Real quickly. Okay, that's awesome. Listen, what I'm going to do is that information, we'll put it up on the website. Is it if they're, okay, that number to call them, it's 480-467-3188. Check them out on their website. It's Cronus, Cronus law.com.